Hi everybody, this is Caroline Sutherby and welcome to Up, Down, and Around Town. All right, it's wintertime, but you're thinking, hey, spring is going to be on its way. We have Lent starting, Easter will be in April, and a lot of things between now and then that will be happening. We have to go to our guest because we got a lot of stuff to tell you about. John Truitt. I never heard of the TCT until I got this press release about a month ago, and it's fascinating. I don't have all the information, so that's why you're going to have to tell me how all this started, and especially with the 100-year anniversary.
Oh, thank you. TCT stands for the Tin Can Tourist. It was a camping club that began in 1919. The first meeting was in DeSoto Park, Florida, and it became what people would know now as like the Good Sam Club, but it was actually an auto camp club. When the Dixie Highway opened in 1909, 1915 it started, sorry, the people were starting to have their cars, so they would migrate from the cold weather down to Florida, and there was no real organized camp, there was no organized roads, there was no restaurants, there were no hotels, motels, or anything. So the American way of figuring things out was they would take their tin can Lizzies and build out beds in them, turn them into tents, bring canvases, bring everything they needed. One of the big things they brought was tin can food, and the locals began to call them the tin canners because the northerners would come down with months' supplies worth of canned food. And before we had all the branding and logos, to recognize if you were a Tin Can Tourist member, people would put an empty tin can on their hood ornament as they would travel and pull over for the night. So, so the club got organized after one lovely lady decided to go down to Florida, and it took her 17 days in her tin can Lizzie. Now, there were no roads like we know them. There were a lot of places didn't have bridges. They were ruts, they were mud trails, and sometimes the most they could ever go would be 12 miles an hour. It would be the highest speed. And, but it took her 17 days, and then when they got down there, they met up other people that had the same adventures, and they decided to form a club to help each other along the route, back and forth. And then the tie to Michigan is, for years they would come as far north in the summer to Sandusky, Ohio, but after World War II, the Tin Canners would summer in Traverse City, Michigan. So from both ends. And the membership grew through the years upwards to 100,000 members. And back in the day, they used to call it auto camping. And so the Tin Canners would roll in to the cities, find a local park, and just start setting up. That was the early days. Well, they were liked and disliked, and then, but once the numbers got going, towns figured out this was good for the town. So towns would start fighting over inviting the Tin Canners to come and set up parks for their winter convention and their homecoming convention down in Florida. And the club, it really kind of started to fade out in the 60s, and then it really was over in the 80s. There was a hardcore group of folks that would still get together for meals and talk about the old times up into the 80s. And then, so then it kind of went dormant, and then Jerry and Forrest Bone, and Forrest, folks might know Forrest from his coaching days here downriver. They belonged to another vintage group, and they didn't like the exclusivity of that group, So they did some research. They did all kinds of research on the Tin Can Tourist and resurrected the group back in 1997.
Okay.
And the first meeting of those 13 people was at Camp Dearborn in Milford, Michigan.
And of course, Camp Dearborn was always full during the summertime. A lot of people did go there.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the places, hey, you know,
Yep. Yeah.
special camping privileges over there.
Yep. Well, and now it's gone from those original 13 to we have about 200 vintage campers that come at our spring rally and our fall rally. And most of our rallies include an open house. So we actually open the trailers to the public to come through, walk through the trailers, reminisce, get ideas, get inspired, or just kind of get a good chuckle at a few things. So,
I know you brought quite a few pictures. Do you want to go to the pictures, or should we get an idea of what you brought here?
Well, the tie-in and why we're kind of promoting this is because, like I mentioned earlier, the auto campers would just roll into town and find a park. So our first Michigan camping outing is actually, we're camping in town here in Wyandotte. We were here 2 years ago. We're going to gather around the theater lot April 26th, and then that Friday night we'll open the trailers to the public to come through, go through. Some of them you can go in, go all the way through. Others are too small. You just kind of need to pop your head in and take a look.
Yeah, okay.
And I've got several pictures of just kind of various campers that may be coming.
Okay.
I have 40 signed up right now, and our oldest is a 1920 camper that just signed up. Last time we were here, we had a 1935 Bolus, which there's only 13 original ones left, and maybe only 6 actually on the road. So
Well, after this time, they're probably falling apart.
well, there's great effort to make sure that they're safe when they're rolling. The other aesthetics get to be as people can get to them.
Yeah.
What's really great about the group is we enjoy the public and interacting with people that come by, and you know we get people come through and they'll start crying because this reminds me of Grandma and Grandpa and the good days at the state park and or camp outings, and a lot of them are not totally self-contained. So you have to get your entertainment outside of the rig. So that means you're mixing and mingling with people. You know.
What impressed me is the fact I didn't get that paper that maybe we can put up for some of the people to realize that came to some of the homes, and you do have an article in there. As always, clean, keeping the places clean, have entertainment, but hey, keep it low, right?
If you didn't see this came or will be coming to your local mailbox, and there's a wonderful article with more of the history and what we're doing. So, yep, as you mentioned, when the club first started, some of the stuff is really great. And this is really, we have not changed this at all. So the objective of the club was to unite fraternally all auto campers, to establish a feeling of friendship, to provide clean and wholesome entertainment at all meetings, and to spread the gospel of cleanliness in all camps, as well as help enforce the rules governing all public campgrounds. So, but we kind of tend to break some of them rules once in a while.
Bit.
And we've got some other fun things. We have our traditions, and we have our secret handshake. We've got a secret song, and we've got a secret password. And the way we would induct members is we would teach you those, and then you repeat them back, and then you're a Tin Can Tourist member. So that's how they've done it all these years. We've tacked on asking for a membership fee, of course, but back in the day they didn't. It was kind of remarkable.
Everybody on their own, basically, yeah. Okay, I had asked you previously how you got involved. You want to repeat
Oh,
that?
yeah, that's, how did I get involved? Well, we can blame the internet for this one. So I had a Jeep, and I was looking for a small camper. So this was the early days of Google, and I just put in vintage camper thinking I'd be cute. Well, this world was just, the vintage camping world was just kind of coming about. It was 3 years, so it had been 2000, and the third picture I saw was of a vintage Airstream, and it looked like the right size, and so I contacted the person, and that happened to be Forrest Bone. He had owned it. So once you meet Forrest, you're going to just say yes and write a check and join the club. Forrest and Jerry are wonderful people, so I went out, looked at it, and decided to do it, and then they promptly delivered it to my house when then I realized it was too big for my Jeep. So, oh well. So we figured that out, but and then of course they wanted me to come to the rally right away, which was, I think at that time, just 25, and I said, hey, I'll take some pictures. Well, I've been taking pictures ever since at the rally. So now we're, like I said, from 25 to 200, you know, we have about 400 people, and these rallies can go on 4 to 5 days, and we have themes and dances and bands. And
So where do you meet to make all these decisions?
well, that's the blessing of the internet. We do so much with email and
Okay.
you know, the new things, and it's amazing. Our older folks are right in there too on the internet because they figured out if they want to get involved that they have to participate. There's a few that we still email, I mean, actually mail things to, but most everybody's up to speed on that.
The new wave life, right?
Yep, yeah, and then from there, I got asked to help salvage a little thing, and that turned into now our second biggest rally during the summer, and that's up at Port Crescent State Park. So we have 115 campers and at the state park, and then it's now a regional event. So we end up with about 2,000 people come on Saturday to walk through the campers.
Wow. Do they actually maybe on the spot sell one to a person as they're coming through and say, hey, I'd like that. Would you like to give it up?
Yeah, yes, that happens. Members sell trailers to each other. Some come with visitation rights because you know people put a lot of love and care into some of these. And a lot of times the trading, the selling and buying is just because people figure out, you know, this floor plan doesn't work for me, or I kind of need this, or I can downsize, or I need to go a little bigger.
Yeah.
Or they look for the next challenge in the restoration or renovation of a camper.
Okay.
So.
All right. Okay. Now, you were mentioning this, and I got to get.
Oh.
What was this all about?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Well, one of the fun things, the group is so flexible and so creative. We had an elderly couple, an older couple, and Margot had worked for Paul years ago, and then they parted ways, and then they met up at Tin Can, and then all of a sudden, word got out that they were engaged, and then they were going to wait a few years to get married. Well, someone said, "Well, Paul, you're 75, you can't wait." So the next, that was the spring. By the fall, we had a whole wedding planned for them at camp. Just imagine 400 guests cheering and screaming and hollering. Anyone that wanted to be a bridesmaid, just show up in a vintage outfit. And then this was the bridal party when we were all said and done.
How about that?
But yeah, so we had about 20 women showed up in their wonderful vintage gowns of all makes and models. The guys showed up in tuxedo T-shirts to escort them down the aisle. So a gal in one arm and a Pabst Blue Ribbon in the other. And then Forrest, our fearless leader, he went out and got himself ordained online. So the wedding was legal. And the greatest part of this whole wedding was when in the right, when he says, does the community support this? and you thought you were at a football game. Everybody jumped up, all the cameras were going and hooping and hollering. So, and they've done very well since. And
they didn't have much of a choice, right?
No,
it was like either you get married.
They didn't, and they showed up wonderfully dressed, and it was just a very touching. It was a great event, and like weddings probably should be, you know, quite the party.
So you people won't forget that one. You got pictures to prove it.
Yeah, we've got the pictures to do that. So. And we've done other things. We had a wig party to celebrate our cancer survivors.
Oh, yeah.
And then the tie-in with Wyandotte, what we're asking folks is two things. If you come to visit, celebrate our heritage by bringing some tin can food, which we're going to donate to the soup kitchen here in town. And that's the Wainwright Community Church, I think, or I get the titles mixed up, I'm sorry. But
they're close.
Yeah, it's a wonderful little soup kitchen, and which is amazing. They do it on a wing and a prayer, and they've been doing it for 11 years, 2 meals a week. So if you can bring some tin cans of food, celebrate our heritage. And then another group we're involved, I've kind of helped out a little bit, and our folks have, is the We Are Plarners group. And they take your plastic bags and then turn them into yarn. And then they make sleeping mats for the homeless. And to date, they've donated 360 mats.
That's nice.
They're all crocheted together. It takes about 700 bags to make one mat. So bring your clean plastic bags and then meet those folks. They'll be at the open house as well.
Okay. And the date again?
April 26th, Friday, April 26th. Now, if you want to see something entertaining, come Thursday night when we're rolling into town and trying to park these.
Oh, yeah.
It is a lesson in absolute cooperation, and we all know each other, and it goes pretty well. There's a lot of doing this on the fly, figuring it out as we go. But so we're coming into town the 25th. You can visit with us after we park, so that'd be like 9 or 10. And then Friday's the official open house from 5 until 9. And then, but during the day, Friday, Saturday, feel free to stop by. We'll be all at the theater lot. You'll see us. Chat us up. Folks give tours,
That's great.
at any time, yeah.
So before that date, though, you're going to remind us so that we can remind them.
Yep.
And,
yeah, we've got things out on the Facebook. There's a TCT Wyandotte Facebook page. And then the various other Wyandotte Facebook pages, there'll be things put out as well. Keep your Wyandotte Warrior paper handy. This is the latest rag to hit our town. It's really great. There's some good things in there. And there's copies at City Hall and other places throughout town. And then there's, if you'd like to, you could go to the Tin Can Tourist Facebook page. Just look, folks will know how to look that up. That we'll ask you 3 questions, but go ahead and answer those questions. And we have about 40,000 people on that page right now.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Now you did bring some pictures, so let's go and have Amy flip a couple of them. This will give you an idea what you might be seeing when you go there. All right. And we have to mention that you also had an honorable Hall of Fame plaque.
Yeah. During here we go. So when we first started off, it was just trailers, people bringing cool little old trailers and cleaning them up. And then they began restoring them, and then they began renovating them, and then they began getting vintage tow vehicles to go with them. So this is Steve and his, I think it's a 1947 Trotwood, all wood interior, all original.
Oh, really? Wood inside?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then his truck to go with it. So there were several manufacturers of trailers right in Michigan and in the Ohio area. So. And now we all know Elkhart, Indiana is the place, right?
Okay.
So, so this is part of the original signage that would have been on our logo.
Okay.
This is kind of an interior shot. Everything's original, the stove, the sink, the little light fixture.
So how many people can actually stay in there? 3 or 4?
Well,
Or is that, or 2?
yeah, this one would have probably done 4.
4? Yeah.
Well, maybe 6 actually, because sometimes over the bed they would hang a cot.
Okay.
So then you could get 2 and then 2 on the sofa. So our folks, they go out and they prop everything out, you know, with themes. Some folks do, some don't. But now this is my favorite. This is Jackie. Jackie has about 6 trailers, and she goes all out. This is her 1970s Avion.
Oh, really?
Avion was a competitor to Airstream, and Jackie gets into costume, but you'll notice all the period pieces she has, from the tea cart to the chair, the table, her purse, her outfit.
She's out there to invite everybody around and say, come on down.
Yep, yep.
Right?
And then if we can go to the next one, we'll, so this is the interior. This is an original 70s interior. Curtains and the fabric and the lamps and the owls and the whole 9 yards. And then we can go, and then complete with 8-track tape player. So this is the type of stuff you'll see.
Okay.
Here's a picture without. So and what's really cool with the Avion is the wraparound windows. She even goes to getting the vintage beverages. So what would have been popular back then, your
Black
Tab,
Label.
Black Label. The sink is all propped out with, she found AIM. I don't know, even know if they still make that. This one's a twin bed model, so all the things.
Well, at least you have an idea. It's like your big campers, but in smaller version.
Yeah. Now, this is a little cab, what we call a cab over, with the front part hangs over. And this is this lady. She is a local. She's downriver area here. Now she's gone with the cowboy theme. So, and she's done most of the work on this herself.
Oh, okay.
So if we could go to the next one. So, of course, some more props and keeping the theme. And
she likes music.
Right. Yep, yep. And folks will get into learning how to do the upholstery themselves, learning how to do the woodwork or whatever needs to be refinished. And what's really great about the members of the club is we have what I call checkbook restorers down to us nickel dimers. And if we could hold on that one for a second. So, and you wouldn't know, we're not like a car club where, you know, there's some things. The trailers and the stuff and all that, we really view that as conversation starters. And, you know, and then we celebrate with whatever somebody has or whatever somebody's been able to do. Now, this is another version of a camper. This is, U-Haul used to rent these, and this is a little fiberglass job.
Okay.
And they might
You
get...
need a truck to take it?
Yeah, this is a lightweight one.
Lightweight, okay.
A decent car could do this, right? Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
So if we go to the next one, I'll show you. So this is kind of the inside. So this one, the dinette to the left, that would make into a bed, and this would make into a twin bed here. That's an actual ice box. You put ice in there and watch it melt. They weren't very efficient, but so here's the other view of it. So this one's pretty well restored. It's got the original logos on it and all cleaned up. So we've got all of them in there. From our earliest one, I think, goes back to a 1909 canvas tent pull behind, so would have gone behind a Model A or Model T. This is now this is a Century. This is an aluminum sided one. If we could go, we can skip that. Weberville, Michigan. And the way trailers would get, somebody always thought they had a better idea, so they'd start something in their garage, and then boom, it become a little business. So here's this one. This one was 100% original when they got it. The curtains, the woodwork, was just the heater, even the original doobie they found in there. So they kept it when they were cleaning. So they got the matching prop, period lights and mirrors, and of course, you know, a little reading material. This was in the bathroom. This was their dinette. And that's the original fabric on the sofas as well. You know, so Yeah, the original bark cloth that miraculously did not dry rot. Now this one here, this was taken at Port Crescent, and we had one year the theme was Dot. And we just left it at that, and we let the people go. So they found, this one is stainless steel. This one is not stainless steel. This is a steel-bodied camper. This one is coming. This one is very exciting to see. It's a 50,
because of the dots?
No, those are magnets. Those will be off. But this is a 30, I think it's 32 feet.
Okay.
And this is your original tiny home. This particular, and it's called a Vagabond, and there was the whole company made these, several different lengths and things, but they were all meant not to travel every weekend, but maybe to travel seasonally. So they would go to parks, and they would call this a park model because you had to hook up to the facilities there.
Like your modern day
right. But this one
now.
in the front's got a full living room. It's got a full kitchen. It's got a full home-sized refrigerator. The original fridge still works. It's 50. I think this is 57, if I'm not mistaken. It's got actually 2 bedrooms in it. It's got a bathroom, and now they've since added holding tanks so they can travel and not be tethered to a park. But it comes in what we call dry weight without all the stuff in it at about 10,000 pounds. So it's a big thing to see. The awning is close to 22 feet. So this one here, these folks own Retro Antiques, and they've been very good to us. But what's really cool about this is her grandmother gave her this when she was 9 years old.
Really?
So she has had this camper for 50 years, well, 51 years now, and has used it every summer and just maintained it. Yep, so yep.
The various styles, different makes. I mean, you're going from like a 2-bed or 2-person bed to, well, like you said, that big one is even had a living room plus.
Right,
So
and that big one, folks would, those were like, a lot of those were built for folks coming back from the war or early, first homes. This one's a fascinating story, and this is another barn find where everything in there was original. Now, she's added the pictures, but the sofas, the furniture, the family bought this, used it once, and put it in storage for 55 years.
Really?
Inside. And that's the original from the factory coming off the line, serial number or something that they had.
Wyandotte Farmers Market.
Yep. This was when we were here. This is the 1935 Bolus.
Okay.
And it's, that aircraft design, aluminum, all riveted together. The, my hand. The owner of this, the wife did all the woodwork inside. She's a carpenter, so she worked on that.
Okay, so a lot of those will be there.
Yep. If you want to keep rolling, those are...
we're almost out of time.
Are we? Okay.
Yeah, you have to come back in April and refresh your memory,
All
right?
So again, we would, really encourage everyone to come down Friday, April 26th.
Okay.
Bring some tin can to celebrate our history, and then we'll share that with the...
Thanks, John. Take care.
Okay.
Okay, so see you next time on Up, Down, and Around Town.
Okay, then.